What would you do if the man you loved condemned you to death in front of everyone you knew? Sera's hands trembled as she stood in the center of the pack ceremony hall. 200 wolves surrounded her. Their eyes were cold and judging. The marble floor beneath her bare feet felt like ice, but nothing compared to the chill in Alpha Marcus's stare. You dare claim this child is mine? Marcus's voice boomed through the hall. He stood on the elevated platform, his Luna Elena beside him, her hand resting possessively on his arm. Elena's lips curved into a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. Sera clutched 4-year-old Lily closer. The little girl buried her face in her mother's neck, trembling. Marcus, please. You know the truth. You know what happened that night. What I know, Marcus said, descending the steps slowly, deliberately, is that you're a liar. A desperate Omega who spreads her legs for anyone and then tries to trap an alpha with bastard children. The crowd gasped. Sera's knees nearly buckled. They had been together for 3 years. He had promised her everything. And now he was destroying her with words sharper than claws. I was loyal to you, Sera whispered, her voice breaking. Only you. Always you. Elena stepped forward, her designer dress flowing around her like water. She had been Sera's best friend once. They had grown up together, shared secrets, laughed until their stomachs hurt. Now Elena's green eyes held nothing but contempt. Oh, Sera, Elena said. Her voice was dripping with false sympathy. Still lying? We have witnesses. You were seen with other males. Multiple times. She turned to the crowd. Should we bring them forward? No, Sera breathed. That's not true. Elena, you know that's not true. But 3 male wolves stepped forward, their faces were blank. One by one, they claimed they had been with Sera. The lies fell from their lips easily and rehearsed. Sera recognized them as Elena's distant cousins, and wolves who would do anything for status. Marcus raised his hand, and the hall fell silent. Sera of the Moonwater bloodline, I, Alpha Marcus of the Silverfang pack, reject you. You are Omega. You are nothing. You and your bastard child are exiled, effective immediately. The bond between them snapped like a broken bone. Sera screamed, falling to her knees. The pain was blinding, a fire burning through her chest. Lily was crying now, her small hands clutching at Sera's dress. Mama, what's happening? 2 guards grabbed Sera's arms, hauling her to her feet. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The rejection pain consumed everything. Take them to the airfield, Marcus ordered, turning his back on her. They leave tonight. Where are you sending us? Sera managed to gasp out. Elena smiled. To the Omega shelter in the Northern Territories. Don't worry. You'll be very comfortable there. The lie was obvious. There was no shelter in the Northern Territories. Only wilderness and death. They dragged Sera and Lily through the pack house, past wolves who had once been her friends. Some looked away. Others spat at her feet. No one helped. At the airfield, a small private plane waited, its engines already running. The guards shoved them up the stairs. Sera's wolf whimpered inside her, weak from the rejection and unable to protect them. Inside the plane, 2 pilots sat in the cockpit. Neither turned to look at her. A single flight attendant, a thin woman with dead eyes, pointed to seats in the back. Buckle up, the woman said flatly, then disappeared into a rear compartment. Sera strapped Lily into the seat next to the window. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely work the buckle. The little girl had stopped crying. She just stared at her mother with huge, terrified eyes. It's going to be okay, baby, Sera whispered, kissing Lily's forehead. Mama's going to keep you safe. I promise. The plane taxied down the runway. Sera closed her eyes, trying to breathe through the pain still radiating from the broken bond. Where were they really going? What would happen to them? She heard voices from the cockpit. The door was slightly ajar. The pilots were talking, and their voices were low but not low enough. How long after we're airborne? The first pilot asked. 20 minutes. Over the mountains. Boss wants it to look like an accident. And the Omega and Kid? No survivors. Those are the orders. Elena was very clear. Sera's blood turned to ice. Her eyes snapped open. She looked toward the cockpit, her enhanced hearing picking up every word now. Explosive device is set. So we'll eject before it goes off, and then the plane goes down in the Blood Moon territory. Then Marcus will blame King Kael for the crash, or maybe even start a war over it. Smart. Elena's always thinking 3 steps ahead. The second pilot laughed. That's why she's about to be the most powerful Luna in the territories. Once this Omega is dead, nothing stands in her way. Sarah's heart hammered against her ribs. They were going to blow up the plane. They were going to kill her and Lily and blame it on the rival Alpha King. She looked at her daughter. Lily had finally fallen asleep, exhausted from crying. So small and so innocent. No, this couldn't be happening. Sarah pressed her face against the window, watching the ground fall away beneath them. The lights of the Silverfong territory disappeared behind them. Ahead, mountain peaks rose like jagged teeth against the night sky. The Blood Moon Kingdom, the most dangerous territory in all the lands, ruled by Alpha King Kael. A wolf so ruthless, mothers used his name to scare children into obedience, and he was Marcus's sworn enemy. If the plane went down there, even if they somehow survived the crash, Kael would kill them himself. Sarah's mind raced. The rejection had weakened her wolf. She couldn't shift and could barely feel her healing abilities. But she had to do something. She had to save Lily. She unbuckled quietly, moving toward the cockpit. Maybe she could fight them. Force them to land somewhere else. Or anything. The floor lurched beneath her feet. "We're at the drop zone," the first pilot said. "Activating the device. 60 seconds. Copy that. Ejection sequence ready. 60 seconds. Sarah ran, her weak legs nearly giving out. She burst into the cockpit. "Please," she gasped. "Please don't do this. She's just a child. Just let her live. Let my daughter live." The pilots didn't even look at her. They were already reaching for the ejection controls. 30 seconds, the automated voice announced through the speakers. The pilots ejected. The emergency hatch blew open. They were gone in a rush of wind and noise. 20 seconds. Sarah ran back to Lily, yanking her from the seat. The little girl woke up screaming. The plane was already tilting and diving. 10 seconds. "Hold on to Mama," Sarah sobbed, wrapping herself around Lily. "Don't let go. Don't ever let go." 5, 4, 3. Sarah closed her eyes and prayed to the moon goddess. Prayed for a miracle. Prayed for anyone to save them. The plane exploded into fire and pain and darkness. Sarah woke to the smell of burning metal and blood. Snow was falling on her face. Her entire body was on fire with pain. For a moment, she couldn't remember where she was. Then it all came rushing back. The plane, the explosion, and Lily. "Lily!" Sarah's scream tore from her throat. She tried to move and gasped. Her left leg was trapped under twisted metal. Her ribs were broken, and she could feel them grinding against each other with every breath. "Mama!" A small voice, weak and terrified. Relief flooded through Sarah so intensely she almost passed out again. "Baby, where are you? Are you hurt? I can't move my arm. Mama, I'm scared." Sarah looked around frantically. They were in a section of the plane that had somehow stayed partially intact. The rest was scattered across a snowy mountainside. Bodies of the flight attendant and crew, who hadn't ejected, lay motionless in the wreckage. Lily was pinned under a seat 3 feet away. Her little face was pale, and her right arm was bent at a wrong angle. "It's okay, sweetheart. Mama's coming." Sarah grabbed the metal trapping her leg and pulled. Pain exploded through her body. Her Omega healing was trying to work, but the rejection had made it so slow. So weak. She pulled harder, screaming, until the metal shifted enough for her to drag her mangled leg free. She crawled to Lily, leaving a trail of blood in the snow. Every movement was agony, but she didn't stop. Couldn't stop. When she reached her daughter, she carefully lifted the seat off her. But Lily's arm was definitely broken. And when Sarah placed her hand on Lily's chest, listening, she heard the wet rattle that meant internal bleeding. No. Sarah pressed her hands to Lily's chest, trying to channel what little healing ability she had left. But it wasn't enough. Lily was dying. Her baby was dying, and Sarah couldn't save her. The wind howled across the mountain. The temperature was dropping fast. They were both going into shock. If they stayed here, they would freeze to death within hours. Sarah looked around desperately. In the distance, maybe 3 miles away, she saw lights. A settlement and a fortress. The Blood Moon Kingdom. It had to be. Going there was suicide. King Kael would kill them on sight. But staying here was certain death. At least at the fortress, there might be a doctor. Someone who could save Lily. Sarah tore strips from her dress, wrapping Lily's arm as carefully as she could. The little girl whimpered, but didn't scream. She was going into shock. "We're going on an adventure, baby," Sarah whispered, lifting Lily as gently as possible. The movement made Lily cry out in pain. "I know it hurts. I'm so sorry. But we have to walk. Can you be brave for Mama?" Lily nodded, tears streaming down her face. Sera stood. Her broken leg couldn't hold weight. She shifted Lily to her back, letting her good leg take most of the burden, and started walking. The snow was knee-deep. Each step was torture. Sera's broken ribs stabbed into her lungs. Her leg dragged uselessly. Blood soaked through her makeshift bandages. But she kept walking. One step. Then another. Then another. "Tell Mama a story," Sera gasped, trying to keep Lily conscious. "Tell me about your favorite dream." Lily's voice was so quiet. "The one where Daddy comes back and says he's sorry." Sera's heart shattered into even smaller pieces. "That's a good dream, baby. Will Daddy come find us?" "I don't know. The truth." She couldn't lie anymore. "But Mama's got you. Always." An hour passed. Or maybe 3. Time lost meaning. Sera fell twice, her body giving out. Both times, she forced herself back up. Lily was getting colder on her back and heavier. Or maybe Sera was just getting weaker. The lights were closer now. She could see the massive stone walls of a fortress. Guards on the towers. This was the Blood Moon stronghold. The heart of King Kael's territory. Sera stumbled forward. Her vision was blurring. She couldn't feel her fingers anymore. Lily had stopped talking 10 minutes ago. "Stay awake, baby. Please stay awake." The gates loomed ahead. Massive, intimidating, and covered in carvings of wolves and crescent moons. Sera collapsed 20 feet from the entrance. She tried to get up, but her body wouldn't obey anymore. She had nothing left. "Help," she tried to scream, but it came out as a whisper. "Please. My daughter. Save my daughter." The snow around her was red with blood. She could feel herself dying. But not Lily. Lily could still be saved. "Please," Sera sobbed. "Someone. Anyone." The gates opened. Boots crunched through the snow toward her. Sera looked up, her vision fading in and out. A man stood above her. Tall and powerful. His eyes were the color of winter ice, his hair black as midnight. Scars crossed his face, making him look even more dangerous. He radiated alpha power so strong it made Sera's broken wolf whimper and try to submit. Alpha King Kael. The most feared wolf in all the territories. Marcus's greatest enemy. "Please," Sera begged, her voice breaking. "My daughter is dying. Please save her. You can kill me. You can do whatever you want to me. But please, please save my little girl." Kael stared down at her. His expression was unreadable. His eyes moved from Sera's face to the child on her back, taking in Lily's pale skin, her shallow breathing. For a moment, Sera thought he would turn away and leave them to die in the snow. It would be justice, in a way. She was from Marcus's pack, after all. Then Kael bent down. He pulled Lily from Sera's back with surprising gentleness. "She's barely breathing," he said. His voice was deep and cold. "She needs a hospital. Now." He turned to the guards behind him. "Get the doctor. Tell him to prepare for emergency surgery. Child approximately 4 years old, internal bleeding and broken bones." The guards ran. Kael looked back at Sera. "And her?" She walked 3 miles through a blizzard with a broken leg and shattered ribs carrying this child, another voice said. An older man, a beta by his scent, had approached. "She's lost half her blood volume. She'll be dead in minutes." "Then stabilize her," Kael ordered. "I want to know who she is and why a plane crashed in my territory." He paused. "And I want to know why she smells like Marcus." Sera's vision was going black. The last thing she saw was Kael carrying Lily toward the fortress, moving quickly but carefully, like the child in his arms was precious. Then darkness swallowed her whole. Sera woke to the sound of beeping machines and hushed voices. Her body felt heavy, distant, like it belonged to someone else. She tried to move and couldn't. Panic flared. "Lily," she gasped, her eyes flying open. "Where's my daughter?" "Calm down, or you'll tear your stitches." The voice was a female, and a professional doctor in white scrubs stood beside Sera's bed, checking monitors. "Your daughter is alive. She's in recovery. The surgery went well." Relief hit Sera so hard she started crying. The doctor waited patiently until Sera could breathe again. "Where am I?" "Blood Moon Medical Wing. You've been unconscious for 2 days." The doctor made notes on a tablet. "You're lucky to be alive. Broken leg, shattered ribs, collapsed lung, and severe blood loss. Most wolves would have died from those injuries. You're stronger than you look, Omega." Omega. The word stung, but Sera was used to it. Omegas were considered the weakest wolves. Good for breeding and serving, nothing else. "I want to see Lily." "Not yet. The king wants to speak with you first." The doctor's expression hardened. And I'd suggest you tell him the truth. King Kael doesn't tolerate liars. 2 guards entered the room before Sera could respond. They unstrapped her from the bed and hauled her upright. Pain exploded through her healing body, but Sera bit down on her scream. She wouldn't show weakness. Not now. They dragged her through stone corridors lit by torches. The Blood Moon Fortress was ancient and built into the mountain itself. Wolves stopped and stared as they passed. Sera kept her head up, even though she was dressed in nothing but a thin hospital gown, even though every eye held suspicion or contempt. The throne room doors opened. It was massive, all dark stone and high ceilings. At the far end, Alpha King Kael sat on a throne made of black wood and silver. He watched Sera approach with those ice-cold eyes, his expression giving away nothing. Around the room stood his inner circle. Warriors and advisors. All powerful. And all deadly. The guards forced Sera to her knees 10 feet from the throne. The stone floor was freezing against her bare legs. Sera of Moonwater, Kael said. His voice echoed through the chamber. Formerly of the Silverfang Pack. Rejected mate of Alpha Marcus. He leaned forward slightly. Tell me why you crashed a plane in my territory. I didn't crash it, Sera said. Her voice was steady despite the fear clawing at her insides. It was sabotaged. Alpha Marcus and his Luna wanted me dead. Murmurs rippled through the advisors. Kael raised a hand, and silence fell immediately. Why would Marcus kill his own pack member? Because I knew too much. The lie came easily. Sera couldn't tell him the real reason. Not yet. What did you know? That he's been embezzling pack funds. Selling pack secrets to rogues. I found evidence, and he couldn't let me expose him. Kael studied her face for a long moment. You're lying. Sera's heart skipped. I'm not. Yes, you are. I can hear it in your heartbeat and smell it in your scent. Kael stood, descending the steps slowly. He moved like a predator, all controlled power. I'll ask you again. Why did Marcus want you dead? Think, Sera. Think. She couldn't tell him. My family, she said instead. The Moonwater bloodline was powerful once. Marcus destroyed us to steal our lands. I'm the last heir. He wanted me gone. That, at least, was partially true. Marcus had destroyed her family 5 years ago, taking their territory in a hostile takeover. Sera's parents had died in the attack, and her brothers had been scattered. Kael stopped inches from her. This close, she could feel the raw alpha power rolling off him in waves. It made her Omega instincts scream to submit, to bare her throat. She didn't. The Moonwater line, Kael said thoughtfully. I remember. Your father was Alpha Dane. A good male and honorable. His eyes narrowed. Marcus claimed they died in a rogue attack. That's what he told everyone. The truth is, his pack slaughtered mine in the middle of the night. I survived because I was visiting a friend. The memory made Sera's voice crack. I came home to find my family dead and Marcus claiming our lands. And the child, Lily. Is she Marcus's? Sera hesitated. This was dangerous ground. Marcus claimed she wasn't, she said carefully. I didn't ask what Marcus claimed. I asked if she's his. Sera met his eyes. No, she's not. Then whose? I don't know. Kael's hand shot out, gripping her chin, forcing her to maintain eye contact. You don't know who fathered your own child? I was drugged, Sera said, the shame burning through her. 4 years ago. I woke up in a strange room with no memory of how I got there. 9 months later, Lily was born. The advisors were whispering now. Sera could imagine what they were saying. Whore. Liar. Omega trash. Marcus knew about the child, Kael said. Yet he kept you in his pack for 4 years after. Why? He said he'd protect me. Said he'd claim Lily as his. I thought he loved me. Sera's laugh was bitter. I was wrong. Kael released her chin and stepped back. Your story has holes. But I believe Marcus is capable of what you describe. He returned to his throne. However, you've created a problem for me. The plane crash in my territory gives Marcus an excuse to declare war. He's already claiming I shot it down. I can testify that's not true, Sera said quickly. I can tell everyone Marcus sabotaged the plane himself. Your word against an alpha? No one would believe you. You're rejected, powerless Omega. Kael drummed his fingers on the armrest. No, you're worth more to me another way. Dread coiled in Sera's stomach. What do you mean? Marcus will demand your return. He'll claim I kidnapped his former mate and her child. If I refuse, it's an act of war. Kael smiled, but there was no warmth in it. But if you're here willingly as my prisoner, then there's no war. Just justice being served. Prisoner? You'll remain here, in the dungeons, until I decide what to do with you. Your daughter will be cared for in the medical wing. You'll see her once a week if you cooperate. Once a week. Sera's heart shattered. Please, she's 4 years old. She'll be terrified without me. Then you should have thought of that before crashing in my territory. I didn't have a choice. They were going to kill us. And now you'll live. At a price. Kael waved his hand dismissively. Take her to the dungeons. Make sure she's comfortable enough to stay alive. I'm not done questioning her. The guards grabbed her arms again. Sera struggled, trying to break free. Please, my daughter needs me. She just had surgery. She's in a strange place with strange wolves. Please don't separate us. Kael's expression didn't change. You came to me begging for her life. I saved her. This is the cost. Accept it, or I'll throw you both out into the snow and let Marcus hunt you down himself. Sera stopped struggling. She couldn't risk Lily. Couldn't risk losing the only protection they had, even if that protection came from a monster. How do I know you'll really let me see her? You don't. You'll have to trust me. Trust. Fine, Sera whispered. I'll stay. Just please take care of my little girl. Kael nodded once. She'll want for nothing. You have my word. As the guards dragged her away, Sera looked back one more time. Kael was watching her, his expression thoughtful. One more thing, he called out. When you're ready to tell me the truth about who fathered your child, I'll be listening. Because I think you know more than you're saying. The dungeon cell was exactly what Sera expected. Stone walls, iron bars, and a thin mattress on the floor and a bucket in the corner. Cold seeped up through the floor, making her broken bones ache. But she was alive. And more importantly, Lily was alive. 3 days passed. Sera healed slowly, her Omega abilities working overtime to repair the damage. The guards brought her food twice a day. Plain bread and water, but it was enough. No one spoke to her. On the 4th day, a different guard appeared. He was younger than the others, with kind eyes. He slid a tray under the bars. Eat quickly, he whispered. Before the others see I gave you extra. Sera looked down. There was meat on the plate. Actual meat. And an apple. Why are you being kind to me? The guard glanced around nervously. My sister is an Omega. I know how they treat you. It's not right. He hesitated. The king asked about you this morning. Wanted to know if you were eating. Why does he care? Don't know. But he also ordered the doctors to bring your daughter to see you tomorrow. Hope flared in Sera's chest. Really? He's letting me see Lily. For an hour. The doctors say she's asking for you constantly. The guard smiled. She's a brave little thing. Tears burned Sera's eyes. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. The guard nodded and left quickly. Sera ate the food slowly, savoring every bite. Tomorrow she'd see Lily. Hold her. And make sure she was really okay. That was all that mattered. She fell asleep thinking about her daughter's smile. The next morning, Sera woke to the sound of footsteps. A woman in medical scrubs appeared, escorted by 2 guards. And there, holding the woman's hand, was Lily. Mama! Lily pulled free and ran to the bars. Her arm was in a cast, but her color was good. She looked healthy. Sera pressed herself against the bars, reaching through to touch Lily's face. Baby, oh my baby. Are you okay? Does anything hurt? I'm okay, Mama. The doctors are nice. They gave me ice cream. Lily's smile faded. But I miss you. Why are you in here? Did you do something bad? No, sweetheart. This is just where I have to stay for a little while. But I'm close by. I'm watching over you. The guards opened the cell door, and Lily rushed in, throwing herself into Sera's arms. Sera held her daughter tight, breathing in her scent, feeling her heartbeat. Alive. Whole. They spent the hour playing hand games and telling stories. Lily chattered about the other children in the medical wing, about the toys she'd been given, and about a big black wolf she'd seen from her window. He was huge, Mama, with scary eyes. But he didn't look mean. Just sad. Sera wondered if Lily had seen Kael in his wolf form. The thought sent chills down her spine. Too soon the hour ended. The doctor came to collect Lily. No, please, just a little longer, Sera begged. King's orders. 1 hour only. Lily hugged Sera one more time. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby. More than anything. After they left, Sera curled up on the thin mattress and cried. But they were good tears. Relief tears. Lily was safe. That was all that mattered. That evening, the kind guard brought her dinner again. Stew this time with vegetables and chunks of meat. Sera's mouth watered. You're too kind, she said. I don't even know your name. Better you don't know. Some of the others think the king is being too soft with you. They say you should be executed for being Marcus's mate. Former mate. He rejected me. Doesn't matter to them. The guard pushed the tray closer. Eat. You need your strength. Sera ate hungrily. The stew was delicious and warming her from the inside. She finished every drop and even licked the bowl clean. Thank you, she said again. The guard left without another word. Sera lay back, feeling full for the first time in days. Her body was healing well. Soon she'd be strong enough to figure out a plan. She couldn't stay in this cell forever. She needed to protect Lily, needed to find out the truth about what Marcus and Elena had done to her 4 years ago. But her stomach cramped suddenly. Sharp and painful. Sera gasped, curling into herself. Another cramp, worse than the first. Then another. Something was wrong. Very wrong. She tried to call for help, but her throat was closing. She couldn't breathe. And couldn't scream. Her vision blurred. Poison. The stew had been poisoned. Sera collapsed on the floor, convulsing. She could smell it now. Silver poisoning. It would kill an Omega within minutes. The cell door burst open and guards rushed in. She's dying. Get the king. Now! Sera's body was shutting down. Her Omega healing couldn't fight Silver. No Omega could. She was going to die here, in this cell, and Lily would be alone. No, she tried to say. Lily. Please. Someone take care of Lily. Darkness crept in from the edges of her vision. Her heart was slowing. This was it. This was the end. Then warmth flooded through her. It was powerful. Alpha power, overwhelming and absolute. Someone was holding her. Someone strong. Don't you dare die, Kael's voice rough with command. That's an order, Omega. You do not have permission to die. Sera felt something sharp at her wrist. Then liquid fire poured into her veins. She tried to scream, but Kael held her still. Blood bond, he said. It's the only way. My blood will fight the Silver. Blood bond. That was forbidden. It would tie them together, create a connection that could never be fully broken. And it required an enormous amount of alpha blood. Why? Sera gasped. Why save me? Because you're not done answering my questions. But his voice was gentler than she'd ever heard it. And because your daughter is upstairs crying herself to sleep, begging the moon goddess to save her mama. I won't be the one to tell her I let you die. The alpha blood worked through Sera's system, attacking the Silver, repairing the damage. But the process was agony. Every cell in her body felt like it was being ripped apart and rebuilt. Images flashed through her mind. Memories that weren't hers. Or were they? A dark room. Music playing somewhere distant. 2 people drugged but fighting it. A man with ice-blue eyes, trying to help her. Trying to protect her even though he could barely stand. Don't let them win, he'd whispered. Stay strong, little Omega. Those eyes. She knew those eyes. Sera's own eyes flew open. She stared up at Kael, who was still holding her, his wrist pressed to her mouth, forcing her to drink his blood. It was you, she whispered. 4 years ago. That night. It was you. Kael froze. His eyes widened just slightly. Enough that Sera knew she was right. What are you talking about? The man in that room. The one they drugged. It was you. Sera's voice grew stronger as the blood bond completed. Lily isn't Marcus's daughter. She's yours. The entire room went silent. The guards stared and the doctor gasped. Kael pulled his wrist away, his expression shuddered. That's impossible. Is it? I couldn't remember before. The drugs they used were too strong. But your blood, the bond, it brought the memories back. Sera sat up slowly, strength returning to her body. They drugged both of us. Put us in that room together. I don't know why or how, but it was you. Kael stood abruptly, backing away from her. For the first time since she'd met him, he looked shaken. No. I would remember. Would you? How much do you remember from 4 years ago? Sera pressed. Was there a night you can't fully recall? A gap in your memory? His silence was answer enough. Someone did this to us, Sera said. Someone wanted this to happen. And I think Marcus and Elena know exactly who. Kael paced the length of his private study like a caged wolf. Sera sat in a chair by the fire, still weak from the silver poisoning but alive. The blood bond hummed between them, a constant awareness of each other that would never fully fade. 3 hours had passed since her revelation. 3 hours of Kael demanding answers she didn't have and Sera trying to piece together fragmented memories. I need proof, Kael said for the 10th time. Memories can be false. Implanted. You could be lying to manipulate me. Why would I lie about this? Sera shot back. You hate Marcus. I hate Marcus. This doesn't benefit me at all. If anything, it puts me in more danger. Kael stopped pacing and looked at her. Really looked at her. The blood bond made her sense stronger to him now, more complex. And underneath the fear and exhaustion, he could smell something else. Something that called to his wolf in a way that made no sense. Tell me everything you remember about that night. Every detail. Sera closed her eyes, concentrating. I was at a pack gathering. Someone handed me a drink. That's the last clear memory I have until I woke up alone in that room. But now, with the memories the blood bond unlocked, I can see more. Like what? You were there when I woke up. You were also drugged, but you were fighting it harder than I was. You tried to help me. Told me to stay strong. Your eyes, they were the same color they are now. Ice blue. Unforgettable. Kael's jaw clenched. 4 years ago, I attended a neutral territory summit. Marcus was there. So were a dozen other alphas. He sat down heavily in the chair across from her. There was a reception. I remember having one drink. Then nothing until the next morning when I woke up in my hotel room with the worst headache of my life. Someone drugged us both at the same event, Sera said. Put us together. But why? To create leverage. The voice came from the doorway. Thorn, Kael's chief advisor, stood there with a tablet in his hands. His expression was grim. I've been digging into this since your accusations. I found something. Kael gestured for him to continue. 4 years ago, there were rumors of a dark witch operating in the neutral territories. She specialized in memory manipulation and magical coercion. Thorn handed the tablet to Kael. I found financial records. Marcus paid this, which is significant, some 3 days before the summit. Sera's blood ran cold. Elena. Elena was obsessed with Marcus even back then. She always wanted to be Luna. But how does drugging you and the king benefit her? Thorn asked. Because Marcus has always wanted my territory, Kael said, his voice deadly quiet. If it became known that I'd forced myself on an Omega while drugged, it would destroy my reputation. I'd lose allies. My own pack might turn against me. He looked at Sera. And if that Omega happened to be from Marcus's pack, under his protection, he'd have every right to declare war. But he didn't, Sera said. He kept quiet about it for 4 years. Why? Because Elena was smart, Thorn said. She was waiting for the right moment. The moment when revealing the truth would give them the most power. He pulled up another document. Look at this. Elena's family has been accumulating debts. Marcus's pack is facing economic problems. They need a war. Need to conquer new territory. Sera stood up, her legs shaking but holding. And I was the weapon they were saving. When the time was right, they'd reveal that the Alpha King fathered my child while I was under his protection. It would look like you knowingly got an Omega pregnant and abandoned her. Making me look weak and dishonorable, Kael finished. Marcus would have justification to attack. Other packs might even support him. So when I found evidence of his other crimes, he decided to just kill me instead, Sera said bitterly. Cleaner that way. No witnesses. No complications. Except you survived. Kael stood, his alpha power filling the room. And now they have a bigger problem. A guard burst through the door, his face pale. My king, we have a situation. Alpha Marcus is at our borders with 50 warriors. He's demanding we return his former mate and child. He says if we don't comply within the hour, he'll consider it an act of war. Kael's eyes flashed gold. His wolf was rising. Let him come. I'll tear him apart myself. Wait, Sera said, grabbing his arm. The blood bond made the touch electric. If you kill Marcus, you start a war anyway. His pack will retaliate. Innocents will die. What do you suggest, Omega? That I hand you over to the male who tried to murder you? No. Sera's mind raced. I suggest we beat Elena at her own game. She wanted leverage? We give it to her. But we control the narrative. Thorn leaned forward. What are you thinking? We tell the truth. All of it. But we do it publicly with witnesses. We expose what Marcus and Elena did. The drugs. The witch. The attempted murder. Sera looked at Kael. And we confirm that Lily is your daughter. Not as something shameful, but as proof of their manipulation. That's insane, Thorn said. The other packs will never believe it. They will if we have evidence. Sera turned to Kael. You said you woke up with a headache. Did you have any other symptoms? Kael thought for a moment. Blurred vision. Memory gaps for the entire evening. And there was a mark on my neck. Small. I thought it was an insect bite. Injection site, Sera said. The witch would have needed to inject the drug for it to work that strongly on an alpha. If we find her, if we get her to talk, we have our proof. Finding a dark witch who doesn't want to be found is nearly impossible, Thorn said. Not if we offer her something she wants more than Marcus's money. Kael smiled, and it was terrifying. Her freedom. I'll guarantee her safe passage out of all territories if she testifies against Marcus and Elena. A second guard appeared. My king, Marcus is getting impatient. He's threatening to attack if you don't respond. Kael looked at Sera. This plan of yours. It requires you to stand in front of multiple alpha packs and relive your trauma. Are you strong enough for that? Was she? Sera thought about Lily sleeping upstairs. About the life her daughter deserved. About all the other Omegas who'd been used and discarded by wolves like Marcus and Elena. Yes, she said firmly. I'm strong enough. Then we do this. Kael turned to his guards. Send a message to Marcus. Tell him I'm calling for a council of alphas. A formal hearing to address his accusations. Neutral ground. 3 days from now. And if he refuses? He won't. Elena's too smart for that. She'll want the public stage. She thinks she's already won. Kael's smile sharpened. She has no idea what's coming. The guards left to deliver the message. Thorn began making preparations for the council meeting. Sera stood by the window, looking out at the snowy mountains. The blood bond let her feel Kael's presence behind her, his steady strength. Why are you really helping me? She asked quietly. You could just give me to Marcus and avoid all this trouble. Kael was silent for a long moment. Because I'm tired of wolves like Marcus thinking they can take whatever they want. Destroy whoever they want. And because. He paused. If what you say is true, if Lily really is my daughter, then I've already failed her once by not knowing she existed. I won't fail her again. Sera turned to face him. You don't even know her. Then I'll learn. Kael's expression softened slightly. And you, Omega. You walked 3 miles through a blizzard with a broken leg to save your child. You survived a plane crash and silver poisoning. You're stronger than half the alphas I know. That deserves respect. Something shifted between them. The blood bond pulsed with awareness. The witch, Sera said, breaking the moment. How do we find her? Leave that to me. I have contacts in the dark magic community. Kael moved toward the door, then stopped. You should rest. Thorn will move you to proper guest quarters. And Lily will be brought to stay with you. Really? Really? I keep my promises, Sera. After he left, Sera sank back into the chair. Her hands were shaking. In 3 days, she'd face Marcus and Elena again. She'd have to tell her story in front of dozens of powerful wolves who might not believe her. But she'd also get justice. And maybe, just maybe, she'd give Lily the father she deserved. A soft knock on the door made her look up. Lily stood there in her pajamas, holding a stuffed wolf toy. A nurse stood behind her. She woke up crying, the nurse said, saying she felt her mama was in danger. We thought it best to bring her. The blood bond. Even at her young age, Lily must have felt something through it. Come here, baby, Sera said, opening her arms. Lily ran to her, climbing into her lap. Mama, you're okay. I was so scared. I'm okay. And guess what? We get to stay together now. In a real room with a real bed. Really? Lily's face lit up. Then she looked around nervously. Will the scary king be mad? No, sweetheart. The king is the one who said we could stay together. Oh, Lily thought about that. Maybe he's not so scary then. Sera kissed her daughter's forehead, breathing in her scent. Safe. They were safe. For now. But in 3 days, everything would change. 2 floors below, in his private chambers, Kael stood at his own window. His second-in-command, Beta Riker, had just arrived with news. We found the witch, Riker said. She's hiding in the eastern swamps. But Kael, there's something else. What? She says she'll only talk if you guarantee protection not just from Marcus, but from someone else. Someone she's more afraid of. Riker paused. She says the person who originally hired her wasn't Marcus. It was Elena. And Elena wasn't working alone. Kael turned sharply. Who was helping her? The witch wouldn't say over the phone. Said it's too dangerous. But she said you need to know before the council meeting, because this person will be there. Riker's expression was troubled. And she said this person has been planning something much bigger than just destroying you and Marcus. Something that threatens all the packs. Kael's mind raced. A conspiracy that went deeper than he thought. And in 3 days, all the major alphas would be in one place. Double security for the council meeting. I want guards on every entrance. And Riker, keep this between us for now. If there's a traitor among the Alphas, I don't want them knowing we're aware. And the Omega? Sera? Kael thought about the woman upstairs. The one whose blood now mixed with his. The one who might have given him a daughter he never knew existed. She's under my protection. Anyone who tries to harm her or the child answers to me personally. Riker nodded and left. Kael looked down at his wrist, at the mark where he'd bitten himself to create the blood bond. It was already healing, but he could still feel Sera's presence through it. Her fear, her determination, her fierce love for her child. For years ago, someone had used them both as pawns, had created a child without their knowledge or consent, had planned to use that child to start a war. But they'd miscalculated, because that child had brought Sera to his doorstep, had forced Kael to see beyond his hatred of Marcus, had made him question everything. And now, someone would pay for what they'd done. Kael's wolf growled low in his chest, hungry for blood. For justice. In 3 days, the truth would come out, and the territories would never be the same. The eastern swamps stank of rot and death. Sera pulled her cloak tighter, trying not to gag. Beside her, Kael moved silently through the murky water, his eyes scanning for threats. Behind them, Lily rode on Riker's shoulders, the beta keeping her safely above the dangerous swamp water. Are we there yet? Lily whispered, her small voice cutting through the oppressive silence. Soon, little one, Kael said softly. Over the past 2 days, he'd been surprisingly gentle with Lily, teaching her to identify tracks, showing her how to move quietly through the forest. Sera had watched their interactions with a mixture of hope and fear. Hope that Lily might finally have the father she deserved. Fear that if this all went wrong, Lily would lose him too. The witch's hut should be just ahead, Riker said quietly. But something's wrong. I smell blood. They all did. Fresh blood, lots of it. Kael raised his hand, signaling them to stop. He crept forward alone, disappearing into the thick fog. Sera's heart pounded. The blood bond let her feel his alertness, his controlled fury. He returned moments later, his expression dark. She's alive, but barely. Someone got to her first. Marcus, Sera breathed. Stay here with Lily, Kael ordered. This isn't something she should see. But Sera shook her head. If the witch is dying, she might only talk to me. We were both victims of this. Let me try. Kael studied her face for a long moment, then nodded. Riker, keep Lily safe. No matter what you hear, don't bring her closer. The witch's hut was small, barely standing. Inside, a woman lay in a pool of her own blood. She'd been tortured badly. Burn marks covered her arms. Her fingers were broken. But her eyes were still alert, still aware. You came, the witch rasped. Too late. He knew. Marcus knew I would talk. Sera knelt beside her, fighting back nausea. Please tell us what you know. Before it's too late. The witch's laugh was wet, choking. Too late for me. But not for you. Her eyes found Kael. You want your memories back, Alpha King? You want to know what really happened that night? Yes, Kael said, his voice tight. It wasn't Marcus's idea. It was never Marcus's idea. The witch coughed, blood spattering her lips. Elena. Luna Elena. She came to me 2 years before that night. Paid me to research memory spells. Fertility manipulation. She was obsessed. With Marcus, Sera said. No. The witch's eyes locked on Sera. With power. Marcus was just a means to an end. But you, Omega, you were the real threat. I don't understand. Your bloodline. The Moonwater line carries the moon goddess's blessing. Ancient power that surfaces once every 1,000 years. The witch's breathing was getting shallower. Elena knew. Her grandmother was a seer. She knew you would awaken as a celestial Omega. Knew you would be more powerful than any Alpha. Sera's blood ran cold. That's impossible. I'm just an Omega. I've never had any special powers. Because they're dormant, waiting for the right trigger. The witch looked at Kael. She needed you destroyed too, Alpha King. You were too strong, too honorable. You would never bow to her plans. So she drugged us both, Kael said. Created a scandal that would ruin us. More than that, she needed a child. A child born of an Alpha King and a celestial Omega would be the most powerful wolf ever born. The witch's hand shot out, grabbing Sera's wrist with surprising strength. Your daughter, Lily. Elena planned to take her. Raise her as her own. Use her power to conquer all the territories. Horror flooded through Sera. She wanted to steal my baby? But something went wrong. You disappeared before Elena could take the child. Marcus found you instead, kept you close but hidden. Elena has been searching for you for 4 years. The witch's grip tightened. And now she knows where you are. She's coming, Omega. With an army. She'll take your daughter and kill anyone who stands in her way. When? Kael demanded. When is she coming? Tonight. The council meeting was a distraction. While all the alphas gather at neutral ground, Elena will attack your fortress. Blood leaked from the corner of the witch's mouth. She has a traitor in your pack. Someone close to you. Kael's face went white. Who? I don't know. She never told me. The witch looked at Sera again. But I can give you one gift before I die. Your memories. Both of you. The real memories, not the fragments. How? Sera asked. Blood magic. My blood, freely given, can break the spell I cast. The witch pulled a knife from her belt with her broken fingers. But you must drink. Both of you. And you must be ready for what you'll see. She sliced her palm, letting blood pool in her hand. Quickly. I don't have much time. Kael and Sera looked at each other. The blood bond between them pulsed with shared determination. They drank. The world exploded into memory. 4 years ago, Sera was at the summit reception, wearing a blue dress Elena had insisted she borrow. You'll look beautiful, Elena had said. Marcus will finally notice you. Someone handed her champagne. She drank it. Minutes later, the room started spinning. Strong hands caught her. You've been drugged, a deep voice said. Male. Concerned. Don't fight it. I'll get you somewhere safe. But he was drugged too. She could smell it on him now in the memory. Someone had dosed them both. They stumbled together into a room. The door locked behind them. Sera tried to speak, but her tongue was too heavy. The man, she could see his face now. It was Kael, younger but unmistakable, was fighting the drug with everything he had. Listen to me, he said, his voice strained. Whatever they want us to do, we fight it. Do you understand? We fight it. Can't, Sera whispered. Too strong. Then we fight together. Kael pulled her close, not in passion but in protection. I won't let them win. I won't let them use you. The drug was overwhelming. It was designed to break down inhibitions, to force attraction. But beneath it, something real formed. 2 people, both victims, both determined to maintain their dignity. What's your name? Kael asked, his forehead pressed to hers. Sera. Sera Moonwater. I'm Kael. And I promise you, Sera Moonwater, when we get out of this, I'll find who did this. I'll make them pay. You won't remember me, Sera said sadly. The drug was making everything fuzzy. They'll make sure of that. Then I'll remember you in my soul. Kael's hand cupped her face. Stay strong, little Omega. You're stronger than you know. The memory shattered. Sera and Kael crashed back to the present, both gasping. The witch smiled, her life fading. Now you know. You tried to protect each other. Even drugged, even helpless, you fought for each other. Her eyes closed. That's what love is. Not the grand gestures. The small rebellions. The choosing each other when the world tries to tear you apart. Wait, Sera said. Please, tell us who the traitor is. Look for the one who always agrees, the witch whispered. The one who never questions. The one who has been too helpful. Her breathing stopped. She was gone. Sera and Kael sat in silence, processing everything. The memories. The revelations. The danger coming for them. We need to get back, Kael said finally. If Elena is attacking tonight. Lily, Sera breathed. We left her at the fortress. They ran. The journey back took hours, pushing their bodies to the limit. Riker carried Lily the entire way, the little girl sensing the urgency and staying quiet. When they reached the forest edge near the Blood Moon territory, smoke filled the sky. They were too late. The attack had already begun. Kael shifted into his massive black wolf, and Sera climbed onto his back with Lily. They raced toward the fortress, toward the sounds of battle, toward the war Elena had started. As they ran, Sera felt something stirring inside her. The power the witch had mentioned. The dormant abilities of the celestial Omega. And for the first time in her life, Sera wasn't afraid of being powerful. She was ready to fight. The Blood Moon fortress was under siege. Elena's forces had surrounded it, cutting off all escape routes. Fires burned in 3 of the towers. The sounds of combat echoed across the courtyard. Kael shifted back to human form at the tree line, his eyes blazing with fury. They used the council meeting as a distraction. Half my warriors are gone, protecting neutral territory. How did they get past your defenses? Riker demanded. The traitor, Sera said, her heart sinking. Someone let them in. A howl cut through the night. Not a battle cry. A signal. Kael's face went pale. That's the code for hostage situation. They moved quickly through the shadows, avoiding Elena's patrol wolves. The fortress's secret entrance, known only to Kael's inner circle, was still secure. They slipped inside. The halls were chaos. Wounded wolves everywhere. Healers working frantically. A young guard saw them and ran over. My king, thank the goddess. They have the child. The little Omega girl. Sera's world stopped. Where? The throne room. Elena herself is holding her. The guard's face was grim. She's demanding you both surrender, or she'll kill the child. No, not Lily. Not her baby. Sera ran before anyone could stop her. She heard Kael and Riker behind her, shouting for her to wait, but she couldn't. Her daughter needed her. The throne room doors were open. Inside, Elena stood on the platform where Kael's throne sat, looking like a queen already. She'd changed since Sera last saw her. Harder. More cruel. Her green eyes glittered with madness. And in her arms, a knife pressed to her throat, was Lily. Mama! Lily cried, tears streaming down her face. Let her go, Sera said, her voice deadly calm. This is between us, Elena. Leave my daughter out of it. Elena laughed. Your daughter? She's the whole point, you stupid Omega. Do you have any idea what she is? What power flows through her veins? She's a 4-year-old child who's terrified. Please, Elena. We were friends once. We were never friends. I used you. Kept you close to watch you, to make sure you never realized what you were. Elena's smile was vicious. And it worked perfectly until you had to go and survive that plane crash. Kael entered behind Sera, flanked by Riker and 20 of his best warriors. You're surrounded, Elena. Let the child go and maybe you'll live through this. Surrounded. Elena gestured to the windows. Look outside, Alpha King. They did. The courtyard was full of Elena's soldiers. Hundreds of them. Far more than Kael's remaining forces could handle. I've been planning this for 6 years, Elena said. 6 years of positioning my wolves in strategic packs. 6 years of gathering allies who hate you, Kael. Who think you're too soft. Too honorable. She pressed the knife harder against Lily's throat. A thin line of blood appeared. Sera's Omega power surged, responding to her daughter's fear. The room temperature dropped 10 degrees. Elena's eyes widened. Oh, she's waking up. The celestial Omega is finally waking up. Perfect timing. What do you want? Sera asked through gritted teeth. Simple. You walk out there and let Marcus execute you for adultery and treason. Public execution. In front of all the packs. Elena's smile widened. Marcus is outside waiting. I told him where you were. He's very eager to restore his honor. You manipulated him too, Kael said. Used him like you used everyone else. Marcus is a fool. Easy to control. Easy to convince that his problems were everyone else's fault but his own. Elena stroked Lily's hair, and the little girl whimpered. But he serves his purpose. Once Sera is dead, I'll take Lily as my own daughter. Raise her with the power she deserves. And then, when she's old enough, she'll help me rule all the territories. You're insane, Sera breathed. I'm visionary. Elena's eyes blazed. The pack system is broken. Alphas fighting among themselves while Omegas are treated like cattle. I'll change everything. Create a new order with me at the top. By stealing my child and enslaving everyone else? By taking what should have been mine from the beginning? Elena's mask slipped, showing the rage underneath. Do you know what it's like being second best your entire life? Your family had the moon goddess's blessing. You had the power. Even as an Omega, you were special. And I was nobody. Just the friend. Just the one who helped you get dressed for parties and listened to you cry about boys. So you destroyed my entire family? Sera's voice broke. Killed my parents, my brothers, because you were jealous? I did what was necessary. And I'd do it again. Elena yanked Lily closer. Now choose. You die or she does. Sera looked at her daughter. At Lily's terrified face. At the blood on her throat. I'll do it, Sera said. I'll go to Marcus. Just please let her go. No, Kael said sharply. Sera, don't. She's my daughter. I won't risk her. Sera met his eyes. You'll take care of her? After I'm gone. The pain in Kael's face was raw. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Sera stepped forward. Elena, I'm ready. Let Lily go to Kael, and I'll walk out there and face Marcus. Elena considered this, then nodded. Fine. But if you try anything, if Kael or any of his wolves make a move, I have archers positioned on your daughter. She dies instantly. Understood. Elena released Lily, pushing her forward. The little girl ran to Sera, wrapping her arms around her mother's waist. "Mama, don't go," Lily sobbed. "Please don't leave me." Sera knelt, holding her daughter tight. "Listen to me, baby. You are so brave. So strong. You're going to stay with Kael now, okay? He's your papa. He's going to protect you. I want you to protect me. I know, sweetheart. But sometimes mamas have to do hard things." Sera kissed Lily's forehead, breathing in her scent one last time. "I love you. More than the moon and all the stars. Never forget that." She handed Lily to Kael. The blood bond between them let her feel his anguish, his desperate need to stop this. "Keep her safe," Sera whispered. "I will," Kael promised. "But Sera, there has to be another way." "There isn't." Sera straightened, wiping her tears. "Elena, I'm ready." They walked together through the fortress, Elena's soldiers surrounding them. When they reached the courtyard, Sera saw Marcus waiting with his warriors. He looked terrible, gaunt, dark circles under his eyes, like he hadn't slept in weeks. "Sera," he said, and there was something in his voice. Regret. Guilt. "Hello, Marcus. Come to finish what you started. Elena said you were spreading lies about me. About us." Marcus's eyes searched her face. "But looking at you now, after everything, I'm starting to wonder who's really been lying." "It doesn't matter anymore," Sera said. "Just make it quick. For Lily's sake." Elena smiled triumphantly. "See, Marcus? She admits her guilt. She knows what she did was wrong." "Actually," a new voice said, cold and hard, "I think we all know who's really guilty here." Kael stepped out of the fortress, Lily in his arms, but he wasn't alone. Behind him came his entire pack. Every warrior, every elder, every wolf who could fight. And behind them came something impossible. Other packs. Wolves from different territories. They poured through the gates, surrounding Elena's forces. "What is this?" Elena shrieked. "A rebellion," Kael said calmly. "While you were so busy planning your coup, I was making calls. Telling other alphas the truth about what you've done. About the witch you hired. About the memory spells and manipulation. They'll never believe you," Elena spat. "They might not have." Kael set Lily down carefully, telling her to run to Sera. The little girl ran, and Sera caught her, holding her tight. But then 3 other Omegas came forward. 3 other females you'd had the witch drug and manipulate over the years. All testifying to the same pattern. Elena's face went white. "It's over," Kael said. "Surrender now, and I'll give you a trial. Mercy, even if you don't deserve it." "Never!" Elena screamed. She pulled a knife and lunged at Sera. But she didn't make it. Marcus stepped between them. The knife sank into his chest, right through his heart. Marcus gasped, stumbling backward. His eyes found Sera's. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "For everything. I was weak. Let her poison my mind against you." He fell to his knees. "Protect them. Protect both packs from her." Elena stared at the knife in her hands, at Marcus bleeding out on the ground. "No. No, you weren't supposed to." Her own soldiers were backing away, uncertain now. The other packs closed in. Elena ran. She shifted mid-stride, her wolf form racing toward the mountains. But Kael was faster. He shifted and gave chase, his massive black wolf disappearing into the darkness after her. Sera knelt beside Marcus. He was dying, and they both knew it. "Why?" Sera asked. "Why did you protect me after everything?" "Because Elena was right about one thing. I am a fool." Marcus coughed, blood on his lips. "I let her manipulate me. Let my pride and jealousy blind me to what she really was. But I'm not so far gone that I'd let her murder you and your child." His hand found hers. "Tell Lily I'm sorry I couldn't be the father she deserved." "Marcus, it's okay." His eyes were distant now, fading. "Maybe this is my redemption. Maybe the moon goddess will forgive me for all I've done." He died there, in the courtyard, with Sera holding his hand. Above them, on the cliff overlooking the fortress, a wolf's howl split the night. Then silence. Kael had Elena cornered on the cliff edge. Her white wolf was smaller than his, weaker. She was trapped with nowhere to run. Both shifted back to human form, circling each other on the narrow ledge. "It's over, Elena," Kael said. "Come back. Face justice." "Justice?" Elena laughed, high and mad. "There's no justice in this world. Only power. And I was so close. So close to having it all. You had everything. Family, friends, status. It wasn't enough. It was never enough." Elena screamed. "Do you know what it's like being ordinary in a world that worships the exceptional?" Sera had the moon goddess's blessing. You had your title and power, and I had nothing but my mind and my ambition. So you destroyed innocent people. I did what I had to do to survive. Elena's eyes were wild. And I'm not done yet. She grabbed something from her pocket. A small vial of liquid that glowed with unnatural light. Do you know what this is? Elena asked. Dark magic. A witch's final curse. It will enslave every wolf in 100 miles. Turn them into my mindless army. You're bluffing. Am I? Elena uncorked the vial. Let me show you. She threw the liquid into the air. It exploded into purple smoke, spreading fast. Kael felt it immediately. The magic trying to worm into his mind, trying to break his will. He fought it, his alpha power resisting, but he could hear wolves below starting to growl mindlessly. It was working. Then a wave of pure golden light burst from the fortress, washing over everything. The purple smoke dissipated instantly. The enslaved wolves shook their heads, confused but free. Elena stared in shock. No, that's impossible. But Sera stood in the courtyard below, her body glowing with celestial light. Her Omega power had awakened fully, responding to the threat to her pack. To her people. The celestial Omega, Elena breathed. She's even stronger than the prophecy said. Sera rose into the air, lifted by pure power. She floated up to the cliff, landing between Kael and Elena. It ends here, Elena, Sera said, her voice echoing with ancient authority. No more death. No more pain. You think you can stop me? Elena snarled. I have one more card to play. She whistled sharply. From the shadows below, one of her soldiers appeared, dragging someone small. Lily. No, Sera screamed. The traitor in Kael's pack wasn't just anyone, Elena said, grinning madly. It was his head healer. She switched the children in the medical wing. Gave me Lily while you thought you were protecting her. The soldier held Lily at the cliff's edge. One push, and she'd fall hundreds of feet to the rocks below. Here's your choice, Celestial Omega, Elena said. Use your power to stop me, and my soldier drops your daughter. Or let me go, and I'll give her back. Sera's power flickered. She looked at Lily, at her terrified daughter crying for her. You have 3 seconds to decide, Elena said. 1. Sera's mind raced. She could feel the extent of her power now. She could stop Elena, could protect all the packs from her evil. But it would take all her focus. She couldn't save Lily at the same time. 2. What kind of choice was this? Save one child or save thousands of wolves? 3. Wait, Sera said. I'll let you go. Just give me my daughter. No, Kael said quietly. You can't. If she escapes, she'll come back stronger. She'll kill more innocents. More children like Lily. I don't care, Sera sobbed. She's my baby. Elena reached for Lily, pulling her from the soldier's grip. But her foot slipped on the cliff's edge. She started to fall, still holding Lily. Sera dove forward, her hand catching Lily's wrist. She dangled over the cliff, holding her daughter with one hand, while Elena clung to Lily's leg with the other. Pull us up, Elena screamed. I can't, Sera gasped. The weight was too much. Lily, baby, hold on. Don't let go. But Sera could feel her grip slipping. Lily's small wrist was too thin. She was going to lose her. Kael grabbed Sera's other arm, trying to help pull them up. But Elena's weight was too much. If he pulled, Lily might break. If he didn't, they'd all fall. Let me go, Mama, Lily said suddenly, her voice impossibly calm for a 4-year-old. No, never. Papa will catch me. Lily's eyes, so blue like Kael's, were certain. I trust him. Lily, no. But Lily let go. She fell, and Sera's scream split the sky. Kael jumped after her. He shifted midair, his wolf form twisting to land on a ledge below. Lily landed in his jaws, gentle as a mother wolf carrying a pup. Safe. Sera's power exploded outward. Her rage and relief and love poured out in a wave of golden light. She yanked Lily's wrist, pulling with strength that shouldn't be possible. But she also pulled Elena up. As both of them came over the ledge, Elena lunged with a hidden knife. She aimed for Sera's heart. Marcus's words echoed in Sera's mind. Protect both packs. Sera's power wrapped around Elena, stopping the knife inches from her chest. No more, Sera said. I won't kill you, but I won't let you hurt anyone else either. But Elena's mind had broken. She screamed and threw herself backward, off the cliff, choosing death over capture. She fell silently, her body hitting the rocks below. Sera collapsed, her power fading. Kael climbed back up with Lily, who jumped into her mother's arms. You did it, Mama, Lily whispered. You saved everyone. Not everyone, Sera said, looking at where Elena had fallen. I couldn't save her. Couldn't save Marcus. You can't save people who don't want to be saved, Kael said gently. You can only protect those who remain. Below, the packs were gathering. Wolves from different territories, all looking up at the glowing Omega who had saved them. Sera's power had revealed itself to everyone. And now, everything would change. The next morning, Kael's council demanded an emergency meeting. Sera stood before them in the throne room, still exhausted from the battle. Lily held her hand tightly, refusing to leave her side. You saved us, Elder Thomas said, his voice grave. But you've also created an impossible situation. What situation? Sera asked, though she had a sinking feeling she knew. You're a celestial Omega, a being of legend, blessed by the moon goddess herself. Thomas looked around at the other council members. You have more power than any alpha in this room. More power than any wolf alive. I don't want power, Sera said. I just want to live in peace with my daughter. But you have it nonetheless. Elder Margaret stood, her expression sympathetic but firm. And our laws are clear. An alpha cannot be mated to someone more powerful than themselves. It creates instability, threatens the pack hierarchy. Kael stood from his throne. The laws can be changed. Not without unanimous council approval, Thomas said. And we don't have it. Half the council believes you should reject Sera or step down from your position as Alpha King. The words hung in the air like poison. You can't be serious, Riker said from his position by the door. After everything she's done? After she saved all of you? It's not about gratitude, Margaret said sadly. It's about stability. If Sera stays, if she and Kael formally bond, every other pack will question his authority. They'll wonder if she's really in charge. If she's controlling him with her power. That's ridiculous, Kael growled. Sera has never tried to control anyone. Yet, Thomas said. Power corrupts, Your Majesty. Even the most noble hearts can be twisted by absolute power. Sera felt something inside her break. She'd finally found safety. Finally found someone who saw her as more than just an Omega. And now it was being taken away because of power she'd never asked for. What if I leave? Sera asked quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. What if Lily and I leave the Blood Moon territory? Go somewhere far away where my power won't threaten anyone. No, Kael said immediately. Absolutely not. It would solve the problem, Sera continued, her voice steady even though her heart was shattering. The council gets stability. You keep your throne. And I keep my daughter safe. And where would you go? Kael demanded. Every pack in the territories now knows what you are. You'd be hunted, used, or worse. Then I'll go to the human lands. Somewhere wolves don't venture. Mama, no, Lily whimpered. I don't want to leave Papa. The word Papa hit Kael visibly. He looked down at Lily, then back at Sera. There has to be another way. There isn't, Thomas said. Either Sera leaves, or you step down, or we force a rejection between you. You can't force a rejection, Riker protested. That's against every law we have. We can if we deem the relationship a threat to pack security. Thomas's expression was regretful. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. But these are your options. Kael's power filled the room, making several council members flinch. And if I refuse all three options? Then we'll call for a vote of no confidence. Remove you from your position by force if necessary. Thomas stood firm despite his obvious fear. We don't want to do this. You're a good alpha, but you're putting your personal desires above the pack's well-being. My personal desires? Kael's voice was deadly quiet. You mean my desire to protect my mate and child? To do what's right instead of what's easy? Yes, Thomas said simply. Silence fell over the room. Sera made her decision. She'd sacrificed everything else in her life. What was one more thing if it meant Lily would be safe? I'll leave, Sera said. Today, before sunset. Lily and I will go somewhere you'll never find us, and you'll have no more problems. Sera, no. Kael moved toward her, but she stepped back. It's okay, Sera said, tears streaming down her face. You have a responsibility to your pack. I understand that, and I won't let you lose everything because of me. She turned to leave, pulling Lily with her. But before they reached the door, it burst open. Wolves poured in. Not council members or guards. Regular pack wolves. Omegas, betas, even some lower-ranking alphas. They filled the throne room, hundreds of them. What is the meaning of this? Thomas demanded. An Omega woman stepped forward. She was middle-aged, scarred, but her eyes were fierce. We're here to speak against the council's decision. The pack has no voice in council matters, Margaret said. Then change that too, the woman said. Because we all saw what happened yesterday. We saw Sera fight for us. Save us. Protect our children while you council members hid in your safe rooms. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. She's more alpha than half of you, a young beta male called out. Power doesn't corrupt everyone. Sometimes it just reveals who is already corrupt. And if you force our king to reject her, another voice said, you'll lose more than just him. You'll lose us. We'll leave with him and Sera. Form our own pack. Thomas looked around, clearly shocked. You would abandon your homes? Your families? For a leader who actually cares about us? Yes, the Omega woman said. Kael has been a good king. And Sera has proven herself 1,000 times over. If you can't see that, then you're not fit to lead this council. More and more wolves stepped forward, pledging their loyalty to Kael and Sera. Kael looked at the crowd, at his people rising up for him. For Sera. Then he looked at the council. I believe that settles it, he said softly. Unless you want to explain to the entire pack why you're rejecting the will of the people? Thomas's face was red, but he was smart enough to recognize defeat. This is highly irregular. So is trying to force your king to reject his mate, Riker pointed out. Margaret sighed. Perhaps we were too hasty. Perhaps the old laws need reconsideration for circumstances we never anticipated. Does this mean we can stay? Lily asked hopefully. The Omega woman smiled at her. Little one, you're not going anywhere. This is your home now. The council members talked among themselves, then Thomas stepped forward. Very well. We'll accept the pack's decision. Sera may stay, but we'll be watching. If there's any sign that her power becomes a threat, then you'll find me standing between her and anyone who dares challenge her, Kael said, his voice cutting through the room like a blade. He descended from his throne and walked to Sera, taking her hand. This Omega has shown more courage, more strength, and more honor than most alphas I've known. If you can't see that, then you're blind. He turned to address the entire room, council and pack members alike. From this day forward, the old hierarchies change. Omega, Beta, Alpha, these are just titles. What matters is character. What matters is loyalty, courage, and heart. He lifted Sera's hand. And this woman has all three in abundance. The pack wolves erupted in cheers. Even some of the council members looked grudgingly impressed. Thomas bowed his head slightly. Then it settled. Sera of Moonwater stays. As your mate. As one of us. But Margaret stepped forward, her expression thoughtful. There is one more matter. If Sera is to be the Alpha King's mate, she needs a title befitting her status. One that acknowledges both her power and her position. What are you suggesting? Kael asked. Luna Queen, Margaret said simply. Not just Luna. Queen. Equal to you in authority and respect. It's unprecedented, but then again, so is she. Sera's breath caught. I don't need a title. Yes, you do, the Omega woman from the crowd said firmly. We need you to have one. So every Omega out there knows they can rise. So every wolf who's been told they're nothing can see that they're everything. Sera looked around the room, at the faces watching her with hope, with belief, with a hunger for change that she'd never expected to inspire. All right, she whispered, then stronger. All right. If it helps others find their strength, then I accept. Kael smiled, and it transformed his usually stern face. Then I'll have the coronation ceremony prepared. In 1 week, before all the allied packs, Sera will be crowned Luna Queen of the Blood Moon Kingdom. And then we'll finally have a proper bonding ceremony, Riker added with a grin. One that doesn't involve assassination attempts or dark magic. Laughter rippled through the crowd, breaking the tension. As the meeting dissolved and wolves began filing out, discussing the historic decision, Lily tugged on Sera's dress. Mama, does this mean we really get to stay? Forever? Sera knelt down, pulling her daughter close. Yes, baby. This is home now. And Papa too? Sera looked up at Kael, who was watching them with an expression so tender it made her heart ache. Yes. Papa too. Lily threw her arms around both of them, and for the first time in her life, Sera felt completely, wholly safe. That evening, after Lily was asleep in the room they now shared in the royal wing, Sera stood on the balcony overlooking the mountains. The blood bond hummed contentedly between her and Kael as he joined her. Having second thoughts? He asked quietly. About staying? Never. Sera leaned against the railing. But about everything else? About being Luna Queen? About changing an entire society's structure? Yes. Constantly. Good. Leaders who don't question themselves become tyrants. Kael stood beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. But you won't be alone in this. We'll change things together. Together, Sera repeated, testing the word. It still felt foreign after so many years of being alone. I need to tell you something, Kael said after a moment. About that night. For years ago. Sera turned to face him. You remember more? No. But I've been thinking about what the witch said. About how we tried to protect each other even while drugged. His ice-blue eyes met hers. I think some part of me recognized you, even then. Recognized that you were important. That you mattered. We were strangers. Victims of someone else's plot. Maybe. Or maybe fate put us in that room together. Maybe Lily was meant to exist. Meant to bring us together the way she did. Kael's hand found hers. I don't believe in coincidences anymore, Sera. I believe the moon goddess has a plan, even when we can't see it. Sera thought about everything that had happened. The rejection, the plane crash, the blood bond, the battle. Every terrible moment that had led her here, to this balcony, with this male who'd once been her enemy. If that's true, then she has a twisted sense of humor, Sera said, but she was smiling. Or she knows that the best things are worth fighting for. Kael brought her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles gently. I know we've done everything backward. Had a child before we even properly met. Formed a blood bond before we understood what we felt. But Sera, I want to do this right. Court you properly. Give you the choice that was stolen from you 4 years ago. The choice. To be with me. Not because of a bond or a child or political necessity. But because you want to. Because you choose me the way I choose you. His voice was steady, but Sera could feel his nervousness through their connection. So I'm asking, Sera of Moonwater, will you let me court you? Will you give us a chance to build something real? Tears pricked Sera's eyes. After everything, all the pain, all the betrayal, all the times she'd been told she was worthless, someone was asking her permission, giving her choice. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I choose you. I choose this. I choose us. Kael pulled her into his arms, and for a long moment, they just held each other under the stars. Fair warning, Sera said against his chest. I have no idea how to be courted. Marcus never bothered with that part. Then I'll teach you. And you can teach me how to be a father to Lily. How to be worthy of the trust you're both placing in me. You're already worthy. You dove off a cliff to catch her. Any father would do that. You'd be surprised. Sera pulled back to look at him. Not every male would choose a child that wasn't raised in his house, that he'd only just discovered existed. Then not every male deserves to be called father. Kael's expression grew fierce. Lily is mine. In every way that matters. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving I can be the papa she deserves. A howl echoed across the mountains. Then another. The pack, singing to the full moon rising overhead. They're happy, Sera said, listening to the chorus. They're hopeful. You've given them that. Given all of us that. Kael looked down at her. The celestial Omega wasn't just a prophecy about power. It was a prophecy about change. About someone strong enough to break the old ways and brave enough to build new ones. No pressure then, Sera said wryly. Kael laughed, and the sound was rich and warm. We have time. And we have each other. That's more than enough to start with. They stood together on the balcony, watching their pack celebrate below, and for the first time in her life, Sera allowed herself to believe in happy endings. But happy endings, she was learning, were really just new beginnings in disguise. 6 months later, the training grounds echoed with the sounds of combat. Sera watched as 24 Omega Wolves practiced defensive maneuvers, their movements growing more confident each day. No, Eliza, remember. Use his momentum against him, Sera called out, demonstrating the technique. She'd gained muscle in the past months, her body no longer fragile but strong. Powerful. Omegas might be smaller, but we're faster. Smarter. Use that. Eliza, the middle-aged Omega woman who'd stood up for Sera at the council meeting, tried again. This time, she successfully flipped her beta sparring partner, who hit the mat with a surprised grunt. Yes, Eliza pumped her fist in the air. Did you see that? I actually did it. Applause broke out among the other trainees. Sera smiled, watching their joy. This was what change looked like. Omega Wolves learning they could fight, could defend themselves, could be more than what society had always told them they were. All right, everyone, water break, Sera announced. We'll work on pack tactics next. As the group dispersed, chattering excitedly, Riker approached with a tablet. The final numbers are in from the territory merger. Thought you'd want to see. Sera scanned the report. The Silverfang and Bloodmoon territories had officially unified 3 months ago, creating the largest pack coalition in modern history. Marcus's former wolves had been surprisingly eager to join once they learned the truth about Elena's manipulation. Minimal resistance, Sera noted. Only 15 families chose to leave for other packs. And we gained 43 families from neighboring territories wanting to join. Riker grinned. Turns out a lot of wolves like the idea of a pack that values skill over rank. How's the council integration going? Better than expected. Thomas and Margaret are actually working well with Kael to rewrite the pack laws. Should have the first draft ready before the bonding ceremony. Riker's expression grew more serious. There's something else. The healer wanted to see you. Said it's important. Sera's hand instinctively moved to her stomach. She'd been feeling off lately, tired, nauseous in the mornings. But she'd been too busy to think much about it. I'll go see her after training, she said immediately. Riker's eyes twinkled with barely suppressed knowledge. Trust me, you'll want to hear this. 20 minutes later, Sera sat in the healer's office while Dr. Yuki performed a thorough examination. The older wolf woman had been one of the first to support Sera's Omega training program. Well, Sera asked when the examination finished. Am I dying of some mysterious illness? Dr. Yuki laughed. Quite the opposite. You're pregnant. About 8 weeks along. The world seemed to stop spinning. Pregnant, Sera whispered. But I can't be. I mean, Kael and I haven't even officially bonded yet. We agreed to wait until after the ceremony. Apparently, your blood bond had other ideas. Dr. Yuki smiled kindly. Blood bonds can intensify fertility, especially between powerful wolves. And you two are about as powerful as they come. Sera's hand moved to her stomach again, this time with wonder. Another child. A baby conceived in love and choice, not drugs and manipulation. Does Kael know? Not from me. Patient confidentiality. Dr. Yuki handed her a printout of the ultrasound. But I suggest telling him before someone senses it. Alpha noses are very perceptive. Sera stared at the tiny image. Her and Kael's child. A sibling for Lily. A symbol of everything they'd built together. Thank you, Sera said softly. Thank you for everything. That evening, Sera found Kael in his study, working through documents with his usual intensity. But when she entered, his head snapped up, and he was at her side in seconds. What's wrong? You look pale. Nothing's wrong. Actually, something is very right. Sera took his hand and placed it on her still flat stomach. We're having a baby. Kael froze. His ice blue eyes went wide, flickering between her face and where his hand rested. A baby. We're pregnant. 8 weeks along. Sera watched emotions flash across his usually stoic face. Joy. Fear. Wonder. Dr. Yuki says the blood bond intensified our fertility. Surprise. Kael dropped to his knees, his arms wrapping around her waist as he pressed his forehead against her stomach. A baby, he whispered again. Our baby. Sera ran her fingers through his dark hair. Are you happy? He looked up at her, and there were tears in his eyes. Happy doesn't begin to cover it. Terrified, elated, grateful. His voice broke. Sera, I get to do this right this time. Get to be there from the beginning. Watch you grow. Feel the baby kick. Be present for the birth. We both do, Sera said, kneeling down to join him on the floor. We get to experience this together. No drugs. No lies. No one trying to use our child as a weapon. Kael kissed her then, soft and reverent. I love you. I should have said it before now, but I love you, Sera. More than I thought possible. I love you too, Sera breathed against his lips. Even when you're being an overprotective alpha who thinks I can't train while pregnant. I would never. He paused at her knowing look. Okay, I might be slightly overprotective. Slightly? Fine, extremely overprotective. But you can't blame me. You're carrying our child. You're about to be crowned Luna Queen. And the bonding ceremony is in 3 days. Kael cupped her face gently. I keep waiting for something to go wrong. For someone to try and take this away from us. Nothing's going to go wrong, Sera promised. We've faced dark witches, assassination attempts, and betrayal. A bonding ceremony will be easy. Famous last words. The day of the ceremony. The great hall had been transformed. White and silver decorations hung from every surface. Hundreds of wolves from allied packs filled the space, dressed in their finest. The air hummed with excitement and anticipation. Sera stood in the preparation room, wearing a dress that made her feel like something out of a fairy tale. It was silver and white, flowing like water, with delicate embroidery that caught the light. Lily, in a matching flower girl dress, spun in circles beside her. "You look like a princess, Mama," Lily declared. "The prettiest princess in the whole world." "And you look like a beautiful flower fairy," Sera said, adjusting Lily's flower crown. "Are you ready for this? Ready to watch you and Papa become officially bonded?" "Yes." Lily's excitement was contagious. "Then I'll really have a whole family. Mama, Papa, and soon a baby brother or sister." They'd told Lily about the pregnancy the night before. The little girl had squealed so loudly that half the castle probably heard. A knock on the door interrupted their moment. Eliza entered, her expression troubled. "Sera, there's someone at the gate. A messenger from the rogue territories. Says he has urgent news that can't wait. Tell him to come back after the ceremony. He says it's about Alpha Marcus. Says Marcus is alive." The room went silent. "That's impossible," Sera breathed. "We saw him die. His pack held funeral rites. The messenger insists. Says Marcus survived the fall somehow, but lost his memory. He's been living as a rogue for months." Eliza's face was pale. "And now his memory is returning. He wants to come here. To make amends." Sera sat down heavily. "Marcus. Alive. After everything. What do you want to do?" Eliza asked gently. Sera looked at Lily, who'd gone very still. The little girl had complicated feelings about Marcus. He'd been cruel, but he'd also protected them at the end. "Does Kael know?" "Riker is telling him now." "Of course he was." Sera stood, smoothing her dress. "Send word that Marcus can come. But not today. After the ceremony. After we've bonded. After we've had our moment of peace." She met Eliza's eyes. "And tell him if he comes with any ill intentions, he'll find a very different wolf than the one he rejected." Eliza smiled. "I'll relay your message." After she left, Lily climbed into Sera's lap. "Are you scared, Mama? That Marcus might be bad again." "A little," Sera admitted. "But I'm also stronger now. We both are. And whatever happens, we'll face it together. As a family. With Papa." "With Papa," Sera confirmed. Music began playing in the great hall. It was time. The ceremony was beautiful. Sera walked down the aisle, her hand in Lily's, toward where Kael waited at the altar. He looked magnificent in his ceremonial robes, every inch the Alpha King. But his eyes held only softness when they landed on her. The pack priestess, an ancient wolf named Grandmother Moon, performed the bonding ritual. It was different from typical wolf bonding, modified to acknowledge Sera's celestial Omega status and her equal standing with Kael. "Before the moon goddess and these witnesses," Grandmother Moon intoned, "we join two souls who have fought darkness and emerged into light. Two wolves who chose each other despite every obstacle." Kael and Sera exchanged vows they'd written themselves. Kael promised to honor her strength, protect her choice, and stand beside her as an equal. Sera promised to share her power, trust in their bond, and build a new future together. When they bit each other's wrists to seal the bond, a permanent, unbreakable connection, golden light exploded from Sera's body, mingling with Kael's silver alpha aura. The entire hall gasped as the two powers wove together, creating something entirely new. "The moon goddess blesses this union," Grandmother Moon said, her voice filled with awe. "May your bond strengthen the pack and change the territories forever." Kael pulled Sera into his arms and kissed her deeply while the entire hall erupted in celebration. When they broke apart, both were smiling. "Luna Queen," Kael murmured against her lips. "My queen. My king," Sera whispered back. "My choice." Lily launched herself at them, wrapping her small arms around both their legs. "Papa. Mama. Now we're really a family." They were swept into the reception, wolves from every territory coming to offer congratulations and blessings. Sera felt their genuine happiness, their hope that this union represented real change. But in the back of her mind, she couldn't stop thinking about the message. Marcus alive. Coming to make amends. As if sensing her thoughts, Kael leaned close during a lull in the celebrations. "Whatever you decide about Marcus, I support you. Forgiveness or closure, it's your choice." "I don't know what I want yet," Sera admitted. "Part of me wants to turn him away. Part of me remembers that he saved us at the end. Then we'll figure it out together. When he arrives, we'll face him together." Kael's hand found hers under the table. That's what mates do. The evening wore on with dancing, feasting, and joy. Sera danced with Kael, with Lily, with Riker and Eliza, and even stern Elder Thomas, who admitted the ceremony had been surprisingly moving. As midnight approached, Grandmother Moon called for attention. There is one more tradition for a Luna Queen coronation. She must address her pack, share her vision for the future. Sera hadn't prepared a speech. She stood, her hand unconsciously moving to her stomach where their second child grew, and looked out at the hundreds of faces watching her. I never expected to be here, she began simply. 6 months ago, I was fleeing for my life with my daughter. I had no home, no hope. I thought I had no future. She paused, gathering her thoughts. But I found something here I'd never had before. Not just safety or love, though I found both. I found possibility. She gestured to Eliza and the other Omegas in the crowd. I found wolves who believed they could be more than what they'd been told. I found a king who valued justice over tradition. I found a pack willing to fight for change. The old ways taught us that power determines worth. That alphas lead, betas serve, and omegas submit. But we're proving something different. We're proving that courage comes in all forms. That strength isn't just about dominance. That family is built on choice, not rank. Sera's voice grew stronger. Some of you came here tonight uncertain about this union. About whether an Omega could truly stand equal with an Alpha King. I understand that uncertainty. I felt it myself. But here's what I've learned. Power without compassion is tyranny. Strength without wisdom is destruction. And leadership without love is just control. She looked at Kael, who was watching her with undisguised pride. My mate has taught me that real strength is lifting others up. My daughter has taught me that innocence is worth protecting at any cost. And all of you have taught me that when wolves stand together, nothing can break us. So this is my promise to you as your Luna Queen. I will fight for the powerless. I will question unjust laws. I will protect the vulnerable. And I will never, ever forget what it feels like to be dismissed, rejected, and told you're worthless. Tears shone in Sera's eyes. Because I will spend every day proving that every wolf has value. Every life matters. Every voice deserves to be heard. The hall was silent for a heartbeat. Then Eliza stood, followed by the other Omegas. Then the Betas. Then the Alphas. One by one, every wolf in the hall rose to their feet, acknowledging her words. Accepting her promise. The applause was deafening. Kael stood and pulled Sera into his arms. That, he murmured in her ear, is why you're queen. 3 days later, Marcus arrived at dawn. Sera and Kael met him at the gates, flanked by guards but standing firm. He looked terrible. Gaunt, scarred, his eyes haunted. Nothing like the proud alpha who had rejected her months ago. He moved like a rogue, cautious, submissive, broken. Sera, he said, his voice rough. Kael, thank you for seeing me. You said you wanted to make amends, Sera said, keeping her voice neutral. Explain. Marcus took a shaky breath. I remember everything now. What Elena did. How she manipulated me. The things I said to you, the way I treated you. He fell to his knees. I have no excuse. No justification. I was weak, cruel, and blind. I destroyed your family. Rejected you publicly. Tried to have you killed. Have you killed? Yes, Sera said simply. You did all those things. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I can never undo the damage I caused. Marcus looked up at her, and there were tears on his face. But I needed to say it. Needed to tell you that you were right about everything. That I was wrong. That I'm sorry. Sera studied him. This broken wolf at her feet. She thought about all the pain he'd caused. All the nights she'd cried. All the times she'd felt worthless because of his words. But she also thought about the wolf who'd stepped between her and Elena's knife. Who'd used his last breath to ask her to protect the packs. Who'd made a choice finally to do something good. I don't forgive you, Sera said clearly. Marcus flinched but didn't look away. Not yet. Maybe not ever. What you did can't be erased with an apology. I understand. But, Sera continued, I recognize that you were also a victim of Elena's manipulation. Not to the same extent as others, but still a victim. And I recognize that you made a choice at the end. A choice that saved my life and Lily's. She looked at Kael, who nodded his support for whatever she decided. So here's what I offer you, Marcus. Not forgiveness, but a chance. A chance to prove that your final act wasn't a fluke. A chance to actually become the alpha you pretended to be. Sera's voice was firm. You can stay in the territory. Join the pack. But not as an alpha. As a regular wolf. You'll earn your place through work, through service, through showing every single day that you've changed. Marcus's eyes widened. You would let me stay? After everything? I would give you the same chance I've given every other wolf who seeks redemption. No more. No less. Sera knelt down to meet his eyes. But understand this. If you hurt anyone, if you show even a hint of your old cruelty, I will personally ensure you regret it. I am not the helpless Omega you rejected. I am Luna Queen, and this is my territory now. I understand, Marcus whispered. Thank you. Thank you for even this much. Kael stepped forward. You'll report to Riker. He'll assign you work and housing. You'll undergo evaluation every week. And Marcus? You'll stay away from Sera and Lily unless they specifically request your presence. Of course. Whatever you command. As guards led Marcus away to begin his new life, Kael turned to Sera. Are you sure about this? No, Sera admitted. But I'm sure about something else. Our past doesn't define us. Our choices do. Marcus made terrible choices. But he's making different ones now. That deserves acknowledgement, even if it doesn't earn forgiveness. You're more merciful than I would be. Maybe. Or maybe I just understand that holding on to hate only poisons the person carrying it. Sera leaned against him. Besides, I have too much good in my life now to waste energy on revenge. They walked back toward the fortress together as the sun rose higher. Lily was waiting for them on the steps, bouncing with excitement. Mama, Papa, guess what? Grandmother Moon says the baby might be twins. Sera's eyes went wide. Twins. She says she senses 2 heartbeats. Lily danced in place. I'm going to have 2 baby brothers or sisters. Kael looked at Sera, then burst out laughing. Twins. Of course. Because 1 baby wasn't enough of a challenge. The moon goddess has jokes, Sera said, but she was smiling. Twins. They stood there on the steps, Sera, Kael, and Lily, looking out over their territory. Below, wolves went about their morning routines. Omega's training. Beta's working. Alpha's no longer lording their power over others. A community, not a hierarchy. In the distance, the sun painted the mountains gold and silver. A new day. A new beginning. Mama? Lily asked. Are you happy? Sera thought about everything she'd survived. The rejection. The crash. The battles. The pain and loss and fear. But she also thought about what she'd gained. Love. Family. Purpose. Power used for good instead of control. Yes, baby, Sera said, pulling her daughter close while Kael wrapped his arms around them both. I'm happy. Not because everything is perfect, but because it's ours. Because we chose it. Because we fought for it. And because we'll keep fighting for it, Kael added. Whatever comes next. Whatever comes next, Sera agreed. Together. Lily grinned. I like together. It's my favorite word. Mine too, little wolf, Kael said softly. Mine too. They stayed there as the sun climbed higher, 3 wolves bound by blood and choice and love. The beginning of a new story. The start of something better. Because in the end, love wins not because it's easy. Love wins because it's worth fighting for. And they would keep fighting, keep choosing each other, keep building something beautiful from the ashes of what came before. Together. Always together. The end. Lesson. Love wins not because it's easy, but because it's worth fighting for. Our past doesn't define us, our choices do. And when we choose compassion over cruelty, hope over hate, and love over fear, we create the world we want to live in. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed Sera and Kael's journey, please subscribe to my channel for more heartwarming and emotional stories just like this one. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you thought. Your support means everything and helps me create more amazing content for you. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss when I upload a new story. See you in the next video.